This morning was kind of weird, yeah?
Yes.
Very odd. Ricky. Ricky was interesting. How did you meet him, Timothy? I mean, you were the first person, so...
Well, you know, as usual, I came earlier than everybody else. And he stopped and he said, I'm a red one. And in true Timothy fashion, I passed him straight. I say, sorry, I have no money. I didn't even stop to find out what he wanted. I didn't ask him anything, I just passed him straight. To me, that was the easiest thing to do. And then I realized when I reached by churches, it's probably that same boy that we need to go back and get. So I thought that it's best if I go back and try to make some kind of connection with him. And I saw Tammi and I went and I met him and tried to talk to him. And he looks like a child, but everything else about him is so different. He's aware, he looks at things that the rest of us don't look at, and it immediately puts us on guard. Like,
what was striking to me was the fact that he didn't want to work on the promenade because of the security, because I would never have thought security on the promenade would be an issue.
Well, I guess it would be an issue for delinquent children, people that are loitering. They would.
Did anybody ask him about his family?
Yes, because he lives nowhere. That's exactly. I don't live nowhere.
I don't live nowhere. He has no family nowhere. He said he sleeps in the car park. Yeah. And he had 2 other friends.
Do you remember what age he started to live in the streets?
He didn't say. He
was very
talk like that.
He was very reserved. He didn't want to talk. But I was surprised that we were able to get him to come into churches with us, to actually sit down, even for the short duration of the time. Well, Timothy, we had gotten him something before. We bought him breakfast, but he didn't want to eat it.
Not with us.
Strange, not with us. He kept saying that he had to go to his friends, or making an excuse all the time that why he couldn't be with us.
Maybe he wanted to share it with
That's what I was wondering, whether he wanted to share it with them.
Maybe, but I was getting more of a vibe that he just didn't trust us enough to stay.
But it tied in the end when he told us about the lady that deceived him and said that she would take notes but she wouldn't use it, and then she carried it to the police station and he ended up getting locked up for loitering. Everything tied back in with the fear of security, the fear of strangers.
Authority, anybody with a pen. I mean, as soon as we took out pen, paper,
he was rattled.
It took him away from the situation.
How did y'all feel when you were talking to him? Was it the first time you all talked to a guy who lived in the street?
Yes. I was extremely uncomfortable. Extremely. Because ordinarily I would pass and feel bad that they're on the street, but this is the first time that I actually am confronted personally with their situation. And at one point I was just going behind Timothy. Timothy is walking, talking to him, and just behind Timothy, because I'm thinking, I don't know what to say. I don't know how to react to this, but I don't know how to say anything that will make him want to talk to me. That's how I felt.
I don't know why I thought it would have been easier, but it wasn't, because when he came into the restaurant, he didn't want to sit at our table. He sat at the table a little away from us.
And when I went to order, I looked back and I realized you're sitting at this one table and he's actually sitting and poised to get up.
Definitely.
Poised to move.
And what struck me was the way he filled it out. He just disappeared into the crowd, and that was the end of him. I mean, I looked back and I couldn't see where he went. He just disappeared.
He
was about 15. But
how does he look?
He looked about 11, 10, 11 maximum.
You can describe him a little bit.
He was short. I think he had a vest. Yeah, he was wearing a knitted black vest. Short pants.
Slippers. Very dirty.
Very dirty.
Teeth.
Hair wasn't brushed. I can't even say when last he had a bath.
Yeah.
He didn't talk to us that much. It was difficult to get
pants were torn.
Little things like that, But he knew that, the names of the streets, because we asked him, well, if you know the names of the surroundings, he knew what was on the street. He was aware of where he is, where he was, but he was so shy though.
I don't find this shy. I just find he's just a deep distress.
And that distrust I thought was disarming, because I went thinking that, I can come here, do my little project for, the hour, the 2 hours, get what I need from them and then disappear. But it can't work like that, because you realize the people you're dealing with, and then they affect you more than just the 5 minutes you talk to them.
But although there was distress, I mean, he probably wanted to, but because he was so jaded by what happened before, because the fact that he actually came into the restaurant with us, I would have thought then and there on the street he would have said no. or he would not have come. But you know,
No, truthfully, I see what you're saying, but Timothy, when Timothy and I were doing it, it seemed more like, okay, what more can I get from these people?
that is what it came across like. If I'm not getting anything from you in churches, then what's the sense of me? I don't want to sit down and talk. And I realized with him that if we want them to talk, we can't give them what they want initially. We have to build a rapport with them, and then
yes, like with the
get them
second child that we talked to, Jeremy. When we went to KFC, we were just talking to him, and the way we did it was different because we didn't let him get the food. With Ricky, we let him get his own food. But I said to myself, let's play this differently. And I got the food. And the food was always in our control. The food was always in our control. Yeah. So if he wanted it,
he went downstairs and I put it with him.
He put it in,
and then I carried it upstairs.
Yep. If he wanted the food, he had to come with us. I just found that.
How did he look? Did he look dirty? Did he look like a street child?
This is second child.
Second child. He wasn't as dirty as Ricky.
And he was aware of that because he actually said, I am clean, you see I'm clean?
Yeah.
Because I go to Carenage and I bathe, or I bathe when I go home. He was assertive on that point that he's not dirty. Because you remember when we were dealing with Ricky, we got stares from the people in the restaurant.
Yes.
Did you get that as well in KFC?
Not as much. Some, but not as much. There were some stares because he was fidgeting at first. I mean, he was a little distressful at first, but I think, how we approached him, we did a little different approach, and he was a little bit more helpful because, I don't know Trinidad as well, so I asked to help me out, and he was a little bit more childlike, I think, because from even getting from both these children that we talked to, yes, they're older, but you can see in them that they still want to be, they're afraid almost, but they want to reach out, they want to help and be helped.
Do you think Jeremy is what you would use the traditional definition of a street child, a street person for?
Well, it's relative, but I think he inhabits town. This place is his home. He spends from 6 a.m. to 6 p.m. and possibly later on the streets. So, and home is a place, he even admitted home is a place where he just...
Yeah, he doesn't like it.
He doesn't like it. It's boring. That's why he's in town.
But he had problems with time. Like, he couldn't say when he lived where. He couldn't tell if it was a few months ago or if it were longer, if it was shorter. He doesn't know stuff like that. And that is why I think the suspension and the reason he's on the streets, I don't think it's what he says. I think it may have initially been that he was suspended from school, but I don't think that is the reason he's still on the streets.
No.
I don't think he can go back to school next year. I don't think he's only been on the street for the last 3 months.
I don't think so either.
People have this perception that all street children are delinquents, and as Jeremy was saying, the police, he gave a different side of the story with the police,
Jeremy's parents. Jeremy. What about his mother?
That was one thing. Yeah, that's sick. She just had a baby and he has to provide food for her. And that is begging people for pizza and then he'll carry that home for her. He has an older brother and an older sister, 18 and 17, but he didn't really talk about them. It didn't seem as though they provided for him. It still seemed as though he was a lot on his own and he was really the man of the house.
How old did you say he was?
He said he's 14. He's going to be 15 in December, but he looks, I think, younger than Ricky.
Yes.
He looks younger.
He looks a lot younger.
And the experience
even
he has.
his face is not as hardened and experienced.
He still has the innocence. I don't think totally that has been eroded as yet, but he still talks about his girlfriend and he bust his boy's head and he was expelled because he ripped open the boy's head.
You know what? That's what they used to do.
That's when I used to be people.
How did you